John Deere says it's moving some of its production to Mexico, according to an email that was sent to Waterloo employees.
We all feel it over here. Everybody on the wage side feels the theft. They feel our money going away.
If you're thinking of moving production abroad, be prepared. There could be big costs. Former President Trump has threatened a massive 200% tariff on John Deere equipment produced outside the US, after news emerged that Deere plans to move some production to Mexico.
But these days, John Deere isn't just running, it's relocating. The iconic American company announced it was moving some manufacturing from Iowa all the way to Mexico. Hundreds of workers in the United States faced layoffs as production shifted south of the border. It was a bombshell. John Deere, a brand farmers trusted for generations, wasn't just moving down the street but crossing an international line, and that set off a firestorm. President Trump reacted aggressively. He threatened massive tariffs, 200% on any John Deere equipment shipped back into the United States. Ford was in the spotlight too. While cutting investments at home, they expanded overseas. Trump's promise to bring manufacturing jobs back to America suddenly looked shaky. The strategy was to punish companies leaving the country. At rallies, Trump thundered that if companies wanted to sell in America, they had to build in America. The crowds cheered, hats flew in the air. But behind those cheers, corporate America was on edge. Tariffs weren't empty threats. Ford's vehicle prices were projected to soar by $10,000 per car. John Deere's farm equipment would cost farmers tens of thousands more. Stocks tanked. Deere lost billions in market value in days. But the real pain wasn't just Wall Street, it was the ripple effect. Dealerships, parts suppliers, small businesses, they all braced for impact. What started as a fight with CEOs hit the heart of rural America. Farmers who had been loyal to John Deere for decades found themselves priced out. Trump refused to back down. Farmers started looking at Kubota, New Holland, brands also built overseas, ironically becoming the patriotic choice simply because they were cheaper. Mechanics specializing in Deere equipment lost business. People painted over the Deere logos on their machines out of frustration. What began as an economic policy became deeply personal. Meanwhile, investors panicked. Deere's stock plummeted further as Trump made good on tariff threats. Mutual funds scrambled. The Dow dropped. Ford's competitors pounced. Kubota and others launched aggressive ad campaigns. They offered trade-in discounts, and they really went after conservative radio with patriotic messaging. Sales just boomed. Dealerships honestly struggled to keep up with demand. Even Toyota and Hyundai, with their US-based factories, capitalized with clever ads. Brand loyalty, well, it faded. People started prioritizing cost and availability over anything else. But tariffs didn't just raise prices, they tore apart global supply chains. Companies like Deere and Ford relied on parts from Mexico, Germany, and Brazil. Suddenly, ports were clogged, shipments got canceled, prices for raw materials surged. Small US suppliers just couldn't keep up. Factories shut down, workers were laid off, projects were delayed. Ordinary people paid the price, cars became more expensive, and tractors turned into luxury items. Inflation, crept in. Just when it seemed it couldn't escalate further, Trump doubled down. He announced a sweeping 25% tariff on all imported manufactured goods. It didn't matter if it was car parts, farm equipment, or kitchen appliances. Prices exploded again. Farm equipment jumped another 20%. Part shortages shut down repair shops. Construction halted as materials became too costly or got stuck in ports. Pickup trucks were priced like luxury cars, and even basic appliances spiked. Other countries retaliated. Canada, Mexico, and the European Union hit back with tariffs on American goods. Soybeans, dairy, auto parts, all targeted. Orders dried up, exports fell, factories in the Midwest closed, towns that had seen signs of revival fell into deeper decline. Unemployment rose, and well, so did a sense of betrayal. These were the very places Trump vowed to protect, but honestly, they were the ones hit hardest. In the end, companies adapted. John Deere expanded manufacturing in Brazil and India. Ford invested billions in electric vehicle production in Mexico and Vietnam. GM, Caterpillar, Whirlpool, all shifted operations abroad. Not out of spite, but survival. The cost of doing business in America under heavy tariffs was simply too high. What was left behind? The people, the small towns, the workers who believed in Made in America. That phrase used to mean something: pride, independence, strength. A promise that if you worked hard, your factory wouldn't move, your community would thrive. But by the end of 2025, that dream was on life support. Globalization, automation, and supply chains had already transformed the landscape before the tariffs. Instead of reversing it, the trade war accelerated the shift. And honestly, the human cost was devastating. Farmers sold land or went deep into debt. Factory workers lost jobs they'd held for decades. Small businesses shuttered. Whole towns turned into shadows of themselves. In the end, there was one question no one seemed able to answer. Who really won? Because it wasn't the American worker.